So guys, I was scrolling through the street of Instagram one day when I came across this book. It's basically new and some book reviewers, some book lovers have been reviewing the book, and when I just saw it, I just felt like, oh my god, I just want to read this book. I don't know what it is about the book that captured my interest. Maybe it's the color, because it's really very nice. And the title, because I know of Kachifu Publishing House. And I just thought, okay, why did she call this book Kachifu no? So I just wanted to like read it immediately, so I ordered it, and so well, here it is. The cover is really fascinating, and the font is not that disturbing. It's something that you can easily read, like in maybe 2 hours, depending on your pace. But I read it in 2 hours. I read it twice. I read it in 2 hours first, and then I took my time to read it like better again. Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I don't know that's call it a YouTube channel because I usually have like 3 videos on here, but I'm going to be in your faces this year. Yeah, this book is actually very nice. When I first read it, I felt like I rushed. So I had to read it another time to be sure that I actually really got the idea what the book was trying to tell us about. So the book is a collection of 5 short stories. The first one is Our Husband, Kachifonu. Then My Man, and it has Our Son, and then Our Priest. Our husband is a story of, it's actually a letter that a woman wrote to her friend. They were friends, but like when they finished school, they kind of had to fall apart. So the one of them, they were like a group of 4 friends. One of them had a bad husband who pushed her up the fence. Then another one, something tragic happened to her, and then the last one had to move to Philadelphia, where she lived in a very small apartment, something that she never dreamed about. And then the person actually wrote the letter was actually married to a man who really loved her. He liked her so much, and then they had 2 girls, Lotta and Kachi. But he was cheating on her, and she was not comfortable. She wanted more. So she confided in her mother, but her mother told her that you cannot leave your house because your man is cheating or because you find your man cheating. So she advised her daughter to actually stick to her husband regardless of the fact that he was cheating. But she wanted more. I mean, she was not comfortable with the fact that he promised her, he made a vow to her, but then he was breaking the vow. She just really wanted more. Then there was this particular day, she took her children to dancing class after her husband told them that he was going to travel. She took them to dancing class. And when she was coming back, she decided to stop at the market to buy some things, but after I broke down. And then she was trying to call the mechanic, and right in front of her, she saw her husband who had allegedly traveled to Abuja. Apparently, he was still in Enugu and he was opening the door for a woman. And the woman came outside and she handed him her bag, and he was going, like, he was walking behind her. She was really, really, really devastated. And then she called their driver so the guy can come and drive her home. But then she kind of started to feel this kind of lost for him, and she gave into the law. She wanted to feel what her husband also felt when he was with other women. So she forced herself on the guy, and then they had sex, but she didn't feel any better. Another thing that we need to know about the story is that she had a university education, but she did not go for that. She wanted to go for that, but she thought, "Ah, let me just get engaged to the person I love so much." And she was even the one who convinced the guy Uchendu that she could achieve whatever she wanted to achieve even when she was married. But then when she got married, the guy wanted her to stay at home and take care of the children and not exert herself in any way. But she was not comfortable. She wanted more. Because she already decided to get married before going for that. She just had to like bear the consequences of her decision. Now the second story, Kachifonu, is about this man who used to sleep with his daughter. That was just the highlight of the entire story. But the wife of the man, she was so much struggling to keep her marriage because that was the only pedestal she had. She didn't have anything to her name apart from her marriage to that man. So she did everything. She was doing everything within her power to make sure that her marriage did not crumble. And it is either she knew about the fact that her husband was assaulting her daughter and decided to ignore it, or she didn't know at all. But it was raping her, and then one day they just decided to send her off to boarding school. And then she put a bottle of sniper in her bag. When she got to the boarding school, she realized that she liked it there, and she wished she had never made the decision to take her own life. She felt like if she had not made the decision, then maybe she would have just stopped the boarding school and decided to stay there. So one day when it was time for everybody to go to sleep, she drank the sniper and she fell into a very deep sleep. The highlight of the story is that she had a mother who never paid her any attention, a mother who decided to stick to a marriage that was not working, where her husband was assaulting their daughter. So either she knew or she didn't know, like they didn't tell us that. The third story is man. It was about a lady called Zitechi. This one is like a pretty basic story. The girl, she's like an accomplished person. She had wealth, but she didn't have any family. So the only person she had was this guy that she really honestly liked. So they were together for 7 years. But I think at a point she had a terminal illness, something that was eventually going to kill her. She was not going to survive. And then the guy felt like he could no longer, like he could not bear the burden of taking care of her till she died. So he decided to, it broke the sad news to her that he had to leave her. But because she had no relatives and she had to make a will, she had to put the guy's name on her will. So we were torn in between believing that the guy actually wants to live for his own good, or he decided to wait so that he could get a part of her property. But on this day, Zitechi woke up feeling abnormal. And when Zitechi entered the office, Ada didn't stand up to get her bag and give her all the latest gist. But then Zitechi just walked into her office. So later, when she went out to call on Ada, she got Ada didn't answer. Ada was talking to another guy. And then Zitechi moved closer to them and banged her hands on the table just to draw their attention. But it was like they were not hearing. And then someone walked into her office. They didn't tell us who it was. The secretary had that told the person who works in that she had not come to the office today. And then the guy said, oh yes, he knows that she died in her sleep. So Zitesh was actually really dead. So sad but funny. The fourth story is called Actress, and it's about the story of a girl who was the product of a deceitful priest. The priest was sent to a local government to begin his apostolic duties, but then what he was actually doing was not apostolic duties, it was, sleeping around the duties. He found ways to seduce all the young girls in the community, and then he slept with them. But there was this particular one that did not want to sleep with him, and he really liked her so much. He was lusting after her. So he tried to do everything within his power to get this girl's attention, but she just was not going to have it. And then one day he invited her over. She began to fall in love with him. He was promising her heaven and earth, but because the girl had a really strong faith and believed in God, she did not want to give her body to him. But then he promised her, he lied and said that he plans to leave the priesthood just so that he can marry her, and that the only thing that can show that he's really going to marry her is if they consummate their relationship. So he slept with her and she got pregnant. And then when she went to inform him that she was pregnant, he turned her away. It was like his word against hers, and the entire community was like against her, thinking that she wanted to ruin his priesthood. So this girl went to confront him, and then she tried to tell him the story of how his illicit affair birthed her. And then at that moment, the priest thought, I'm sure the priest thought that what happened in the past was already in the past. He was not expecting his child to show up. So when she did, he first of all denied it. But when he saw that this is actually true, he had no option but to actually give in, and then he started to cry. When he asked for the girl's mother, that was the lady he slept with and sent away. The girl told him that she fell on a knife. She was already dead. And the first story is titled as son. Ada went to live with Auntie Udoka, and Auntie Udoka has a bad husband. Auntie Udoka has a son for a bad husband called Obinne. And Obinne and Auntie Udoka they were extremely scared of the man, because it was like he had problems from his childhood, but he was not willing to admit that he had problems. So he was transferring all the aggression of his life onto his family. It was really ruling the house with an iron fist. And then one day, Ada had to travel overseas for her education, that she received a phone call, and she was told that Auntie Udoka is dead. And then she was like, no, it cannot be. How can she die? And then they told her that Obina, the son, had served the man his drink and poisoned the drink. But somehow one thing led to the other, and it was her Auntie Udoka that took the drink, and that was how she died. So that's like a brief synopsis of Katifonu by Harachi Nnamchi. I skipped this at the beginning. The book was published by James Squared Publishing just last year, 2023. Now, on to my analysis of this book. I'm just going to read what we have on the back here before I say what I have to say. So the writer says that Kachifon is an intriguing collection of short stories with the prevailing theme of femicide interlaced with each story, drawing you into the struggles of average women in the Nigerian society. Harachi's work is a collage of five stories about life, love, loss, and other intense emotions felt by women in the attempt to challenge the norm of female subjugation. The stories are a tribute to the souls that men have snatched. The stories are unapologetically Nigerian, and you are sure to find a character or a story that will grow forever in your subconscious. So that's like the brief summary of the book. But verbally, I agree with this brief summary. I doubt. This is not like to put down this book because it's actually a very lovely book. But then I feel like, for one, the theme that actually runs through this book, because we need to know that the theme is something that is not necessarily in between the lines. The theme is something that is on the line, something that is apparent, something that you can see. And then when I was reading this book, one thing that was screaming in my ears is the theme of choice. Like, all these women in this book actually made a choice to stay with those men. Okay, for example, the lady from the beginning of the story, called her husband, she was the one who chose not to further her education. The man gave her the choice of having, like, to go for a master's after her university education, but she actually chose to marry him first, and then she announced the engagement instead of a master's. So I mean, nobody actually pushed her to make that decision. She made it by herself. It was a choice she chose. And even when her husband continued to start to cheat on her, she still chose to still stay in the marriage. Now, I'm sure that this is because of the stereotype that people in the society usually have around women who are divorced or women who leave their husbands or something. But still, it is still a choice that this woman made to stay with her husband. Now, if we look at the second story titled Kachifono, where the husband was raping his own daughter, the wife of the man, also still decided to stay. I mean, her husband was literally sleeping around, sleeping with everybody, and she probably knew that he was sleeping with her daughter, but she decided to stay in that marriage no matter what. But she had no, she was probably not that educated, but we're not told. She decided to, she didn't have anything to her name. So, like, if she leaves the man, she would not have anything else to do with her life. So she just had to stick with man. She had no other choice but to stay with the man. Not because she exactly did not have another choice, but because she chose to stay with him. Maybe she chose not to further her education or one of those things. But even with the way the man was doing something worse, like sleeping with their daughter, the woman still decided to stay in that marriage. The last story titled Our Son, about Auntie Udoka, whose son poisoned the father, but then the woman drank it. And Udoka, according to what Harachi told us, she had a first class from the university. But she chose to stay in that marriage. She chose to stay in an abusive marriage. I mean, she only had one child. She had a very nice academic experience. If she had made the decision to leave, she would probably have still been able to survive on her own. But she made a choice. She made a decision to actually stay with that man, even with her academic experience and every other thing. I don't think the prevalent theme in this book is femicide, because femicide literally means gender abuse based on gender abuse against the female by the male, like killing of females because they are females by males. But we literally cannot see any of that theme running through this book. Another thing that I have to say, so we have to know that the theme of choice is one thing that is very prevalent in this book. The back of this book says that the stories are unapologetically Nigerian, but I don't exactly agree with that, because in the first part of the book, Harachi used the term high school, which is not something that's common to us here in Nigeria, and some other examples like that. I also found some grammatical errors, which I feel like maybe in another edition of the book they won't be there anymore. Essentially, in conclusion, the book is nice. It talks about women. I'm sure anybody who reads this book would be more enlightened. I mean, they would know better. I mean, I hope that the book actually pushes women to leave their comfort zone and then have something of themselves. Although that is not what the characters themselves portray. Yes, the book is an attempt to challenge the norm of female subjugation. Altogether, it is nice. I like it. I like the fact that I have the book, and I just really want everyone to read it so we can have like an interactive conversation. I just really hope that you enjoyed my book review and an analysis of this book. If you have anything to say, you can put it in the comment section below. I'll be glad to reply. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.